Bringing orchids into your house is a great way to add some color into the house during the winter months. And the Phalanopsis orchid, or the moth orchid, is probably one of the easiest ones you'll find to grow. They're best suited for homes because the conditions they look for when growing can be found right in your home. They like between around 70 degrees and at nighttime just a little bit cooler. One of the most difficult aspects about caring for your orchids is watering. They like to be watered about once a week, and what you need to do is when you water your orchid, take it into the kitchen and use a watering can or the tap, but make sure the tap's not too hot. Dump the water right through the potting medium. The potting medium is a very porous potting medium, generally made up of sphagnum moss, bark bits, or vermiculite. What you want to do is just dump the water through and let it drain out through the bottom, and then just let it sit in your sink until the rest of the water has drained through. You have to remember not to water your orchids late in the afternoon or the evening. They do not like to be wet on their leaves or their flowers in the evening. If you do that, you'll get brown spots on your leaves and it'll cause the flowers to rot, or you could get mold buildup. Orchids are not heavy feeders. I would probably water your orchid with a water-soluble or liquid fertilizer about once every other watering, so about every 2 weeks. They also like bright, humid conditions. So if you have a water bottle, just give it a squirt once a day or so. Make sure again to do this in the morning so the water has time to evaporate and get off the leaves before the evening rolls around. If you're looking for a place in your house to put the orchid, they like bright, indirect sunlight. So a window with a northern exposure where the sun is very bright but it's hitting something and then coming in will be just fine. If the sun is too bright, you'll find you'll get burn spots on your leaves, and the orchid probably won't survive too long. One of the most common questions out there is, once your orchid is finished blooming, will it bloom again? Typically orchids bloom about once a year. They'll bloom in the fall. They'll send up their flower spikes probably in late fall. Orchids will grow about 2 leaves a year. So after your orchid's finished blooming, you will notice new leaves starting to grow, like this one here. Orchids grow their new leaves in the summertime. This bloom spike right here has been coming up. It started coming up in the late fall actually, and now that it's sending a bloom spike up, you won't see any more growth on this leaf because the orchid will be using all of its energy to put out the blooms. After your bloom spikes get to a certain height, you're going to need a stake and a clip to support it because the blooms on the top get very heavy and it will just end up falling over. You can use the stake. If you want to save the stake it came with when it originally had flowers on it, that's good. If not, you can use a piece of coat hanger. Actually, the coat hanger method is actually really cool. I'll show you how to make a really good orchid holder with a coat hanger just after this.